Y'all knew that. Usually they do it at the hospital or wherever you die, but not always. But it's a little creepy looking at some dead person with their eyes open, because they still got their eyes. Anyway, then Jacob left Beersheba, and Israel's sons took their father Jacob and their children and their wives in the carts that Pharaoh had sent to transport him. They also took with them their livestock and the possessions they had acquired in Canaan, which is what they were told not to do. And Jacob and all his offspring went to Egypt. He took with him to Egypt his sons and grandsons and his daughters and granddaughters and all his offspring. Now today, that's not our custom in the United States. You know, if you go off somewhere else, you know, you're going to try to leave your kids and grandkids behind, and all but a net. And you know, I had an uncle that did that. As soon as his youngest child turned 18, he and his wife moved from Plano, Texas to Portland, Oregon, and they didn't tell either one of their boys where they'd gone. They just moved. And it was years, many years before those boys knew where their uncle was. I mean, where their dad was. And then when his mom and dad died, my uncle, who was my dad's brother, when my grandpa died, Boris didn't want to go to the funeral, and they said, don't even call me when mom dies. I don't care. Well, they called him again when mom died. When my grandma died, he didn't go. He didn't want to have anything of it, but he said if there's any inheritance, he wants his share.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, me. That's the way people are, though. Some people. These are the names of the sons of Israel, Jacob and his descendants who went to Egypt. And I am not going to read all these names. If you want to, you can read them tonight right before you go to bed. It'll be really interesting reading. But it's all the names of all those people that went with him, all his sons and his grandsons and his granddaughters and the in-laws and uncles and aunts and cousins, and everybody went. Well, anyway, let's see, that gets us almost to the end of the chapter after reading all those different names of all those people. So these were the sons born to Jacob, whom Laban had given to his daughter Rachel, 7 in all. And those were the ones that Israel liked the most. Joseph and Benjamin, and then the sons of Benjamin, which it lists them, and the sons of Rachel who were born to Jacob, 14 in all. So all those who went to Egypt with Jacob, those who were his direct descendants, not counting his sons' wives, numbered 66 persons. Add in a bunch of wives and you're up to around 100 people going. Well, and the concubines and the servants and the shepherds to take care of the flocks. You got probably 200 or 300 people going. So anyway, they all went to Egypt. They said that was 70 in all, but it was not 70. That's just count the sons and grandsons now. That was 70. Now Jacob sent Judah ahead to go to Joseph and get directions to Goshen. Now I would have thought that as much as Judah had been going to Egypt, he'd know where Goshen was. And they probably did not have maps back then. I know they didn't have GPS. So, Judah went ahead to ask Joseph, where is this place you're wanting us to go to move to?
Well, he probably hadn't been there.
Well, he may not have been.
Was that where Jacob was? I mean, Joseph? In
Well-
Goshen?
No, because
No.
it says he
He
made
would've
ready
been
his
in the-
chariots to go meet them there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, no, Joseph wasn't there, Joseph was with Pharaoh.
So they hadn't been to Goshen, that's not where
No.
they had been.
But they may have passed it on the way. Especially if they got lost in it. But they may not remember.
Sign though, for them to know for sure they
Yeah.
had been through it.
Well, anyway, Joseph had his chariot made ready, and he went to Goshen to meet his father Israel. And I don't know why they keep switching back and forth from Israel to Jacob. They should just call him one or the other. But they do, so I'm going to switch back and forth too. So as soon as Joseph appeared before him, he threw his arms around his father and wept for a long time. Israel said to Joseph, "Now I am ready to die, since I have seen for myself that you are still alive." You know, and that's all he wanted left in this world, is to see his son alive one more time, and he got to. And you know, there's a lot of people who do that and die the next day or the next week. You know, they just wanted a grandchild to come see them one last time, or wanted to be able to be at their daughter's wedding. And if they could only make it to the daughter's wedding, then that would be fine, and they're ready to go. But anyway, Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I will go up and speak to Pharaoh, and will say to him, my brothers and my father's household who were living in the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are shepherds, they tend livestock, and they have brought along their flocks and herds and everything they own." Now, Pharaoh was the one who told Joseph to tell his family not to bring anything, that he was going to provide them everything. You know, Pharaoh told Joseph, "Your family is my family." You know, that's how much he thought of Joseph. Says, when Pharaoh calls you in and asks, "What is your occupation?" you should answer, "Your servants have tended livestock from our boyhood on, just as our fathers did." Then you will be allowed to settle in the region of Goshen, for all shepherds are detestable to the Egyptians. So, Egyptians don't really like the shepherds. And you remember when Moses was raised in the Egyptian household, but he was really an Israelite. The Egyptians didn't like the Israelites. They just didn't know Moses was an Israelite.
He didn't look like one.
Yeah, he didn't look like one. He was raised in Pharaoh's house. I mean, they all assumed this is Pharaoh's own family, his grandson. And so, the same thing here with Joseph. Joseph was a part of Pharaoh's inner circle. I mean, he was right there with Pharaoh all the time, and he told Pharaoh what to do more than Pharaoh told him what to do. And Pharaoh did it because he could trust Joseph so much. And the reason he could trust Joseph was because of God. And so, that's where they went, and we're going to stop there because I don't want to go another chapter. It'll throw Adam off if I do. And but before we dismiss, I will give you a little update on Ukraine. I can't remember what the